So I declared April to be my breakthrough month of my business. And I was brainstorming 101 ways to earn income this month. And I got stuck at number 33. In fact, I was grasping for straws. Like, I was thinking of stuff to sell around the house. I was thinking of taking a part-time job. And I was like, I need to learn something, right? So I bought these books a while back. This one's called The Soul of Money. And the other one's called The Ultimate Marketing Plan. And Goldilocks was onto something when she said it can't be too cold, it can't be too hot. In the middle is just right. This book, The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. She is this global activist, and she was doing a whole bunch of fundraising for poverty and hunger, and she owned a company she helped run a company called the Hunger Project, and she met all sorts of people in all walks of life. She met people that were like in poverty in India and in different countries of Africa, and she also met like the most affluent, the most wealthy women that are making at least $10 million at Microsoft, and billionaires that were at the top of the corporation with their golden parachutes, and sometimes the people that, despite having poverty or despite living in really simple conditions, were really happy. And then sometimes the people that were unbelievably wealthy were really worried about if they would lose their money in the stock market, or some people had money that was handed down from them generation after generation called old money. And their job was to kind of protect the money. And whenever they used the money, the generations under them would be like, oh, they're using that money. That's my inheritance. And so it was so unique to see how these people transform different things. But she was talking about something called enough. And this is also a concept in another book I was listening to called Your Money or Your Life by Robin something. And she talked about Robin something from Your Money or Your Life. She talked about this graph. And she said that we don't have a word in the English language that says the word enough. And in this book, The Soul of Money, Lynn Twist talks about the exact same concept, where we have exactly what we have, and it is enough. There is no sense of lack. There's no sense of excess. Just a simple balance in the middle of enoughness. And that's so profound. That is so incredible. Can you imagine if you looked at everything not from a perspective of excess or of more, or not so lacking in sufficiency and scarcity where there's never enough to go around. There's always take. Imagine instead if you walked the middle path, the middle way, like Siddhartha Gautama, the enlightened Buddhist, and you knew that you would always have exactly what you need, and it will always be enough. You are okay. You are enough. You're exactly perfect, divine, complete, whole, exactly as you are. You are enough. You're not too much. You're not too little. You're just perfectly in the middle. You are enough. That's it. That's all. So profound, so simple, and it's such a huge theme of our life. It's a theme of our planet. It's like the earth has a finite amount of resources, but it is enough and it's perfect for us to steward and use and conserve and use with consideration and presence and care and sustainability and longevity. And we don't have to waste or take or think there's not enough to go around when it's exactly the amount we need. And Mother Teresa, she never kept any money in a savings. She never had a stash of money. Whenever she needed money, she would just ask the multiverse. She would ask God. She would ask the Heavenly Father that she needs some money. And she ran a multi-billion location multi-million operation to help all these orphanage and all these different organizations for the crippled and the leprosy and all that stuff. And she always had exactly enough. When I was listening to another book called The Surrender Experiment, Michael A. Singer, he lived very simply, and he ate a single salad a day, and he knew that that was exactly enough. And when he wanted to build a meditation center on his plot of land, first he had to buy the land, and he happened to have exactly the amount that the guy was willing to sell the land for. And if he wasn't going to, then he surrendered to the fact that he might not sell it for that amount. And then he was collecting money to build a meditation center on his land. And he had his best friend, or his friend from college, design the meditation center. And then he had exactly enough money from all the donations to build that exact structure. That's it. Not a dollar more, not a dollar less. Can you imagine? If money is like water and it's a flow of energy, and you're always moving it around and spending it for good and spending for this and that, you're not massing money, you're not, stagnant water, stagnant money, stagnant blood. Like, it clots, it gets putrid, it starts breeding disease, it causes the hoardiness of mentality. Like, if money is like water and it's a form of energy and you're moving it all around all the time, like water in the stream or the ocean is constantly moving and bathing and washing and affecting all these wonderful things, like, it's such a cleansing, powerful force of energy. If we would look at it that way, imagine using all this money for good. You always had exactly the amount you needed, and it was always the perfectly enough amount. I fasted for 45 hours, and I learned that I don't need very much. In fact, I can go one day eating and one day not eating, and I don't need that much food at all. And for a while, I would consume all this food thinking I needed all this food. I needed all this protein. I needed all these calories. But I found that if I didn't eat for a few days, I just didn't need that much food. And then today, when I broke my fast, like, you don't need that much food. And you realize, like, we think we need all this stuff. This excess, this abundance, this too much, this surplus, or we think there's not enough. And then you go on to some fasting journey for a few days and you realize, I don't need that much at all. I have so much. I don't need very much. And even a small single meal a day is enough to carry you through for the entire day, 24 hours or 45 hours, like water and everything. Like, it was such a profound experience, and it just completely synchronized and tied in with all these concepts I learned about the perfect amount, which is the enough amount. There's like a word in Japanese, that has like the perfect word for the balance of not too much and not too little, and Spanish even. And we don't have that word in English. The closest thing we can come to is the word enough. You are enough. You are enough. You're perfect exactly the way you are. You're a manifestation of the multiverse. You are not too much. You are not too little. You're always exactly enough. And everything you have, everything you bless with, everything you create is exactly as it should be, and exactly is enough for your life experience that you create, always. Ever and I, we talked about making a ton of money and having, building an empire. And we thought about like what we wanted and what we needed. And, we came to the conclusion that we didn't need very much. We probably needed like a warm, nice house to live in that's comfortable, that accommodates everybody comfortably, and some basic essentials and a college fund and things like that. But beyond our like hobbies and our vacations and things like that, like, we don't need that much after that. Maybe 2 electric vehicles or something. And we realized like all that money that we would have that's extra, we could be using for like elevating humanity and our planet. And that is coming from a concept of enough. Like, you only have enough. You only need enough. Like, if we were to take that money instead and try to give Ava and Austin this huge inheritance, and then they held on to generations after generations, it could become a bad thing, right? Like to get all this money without actually earning it. And then the people beneath you would think that I'm entitled to that money because I'm their descendants. Like it could turn a really bad thing. Like that's how old money and what are they called? I forget, a certain fund for a mutual fund baby or something. Like it could lead into this unhealthy relationship with money when you don't earn it, when you have too much and you hold on to and you hoard it. Like it's not the kind of energy that is flowing and freeing like water and air and stagnant, right? Not good. I think it's not good. So that's my message of today. Have you decided that you are enough? Have you chosen that you are enough? You're exactly where you need to be right now in this very moment. And it is perfect, it is divine, and it is on purpose. Nothing happens by accident. Never, ever, ever. And if you didn't already know, I'm a life coach. I love having deep, powerful conversations with my clients. In fact, Danielle is about to become one of my clients, and she's wonderful. She's this gorgeous woman inside and out, and I'm so happy I get to work with her soon. And I posted an article today. Make sure you go through my feed and look for what a life coach does and what is the ideal client, because it was a really fun little post to write as I answered the questions to one of my friends when she asked, tell me about your coaching services. Tell me what life coaching offers and who is your ideal client. And I had such a blast like creating this and talking about how I am a guide for your journey up the mountain. I serve as a Sherpa for you, and everyone is going up the mountain. Everyone's on a journey to access a higher version of themselves that is closer and closer to who they truly are, their divine origin. Because you are a manifestation of the multiverse. You are a daughter. You are a son of God. You are a son and daughter, or son or daughter of the Heavenly Father. So of course, that is your origin. That is your divinity. And we have access, we have all this amazing power within us to create our most powerful life. But many of us don't realize that we have it within us, and many of us don't even know how to access it. So just like when you're thinking about going up the mountain, it's really nice and important and essential to have a guide, a Sherpa. That's what I do. So you're looking to live your next powerful life right now and create it right now, then I highly encourage you to book a session with me this month in April and make it your best month yet. So exciting. Here's to you living a soul elevated life. I send you love, light, profound clarity, infinite possibility to create the life you desire to choose, one that is aligned with your soul's expansion and growth always. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Marie. Good night, Danielle. Good night, PP saying. Maybe that's Peggy saying. Hey, Peggy. See you tomorrow.